Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1255B, and today's date is April 15th, 2017, and the title of the episode is Trump's Covert Plan Against the Deep State is Going to Make America Great Again. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, we are seeing a lot of truth bombs come out where, yes, GHCQ, they were spying on Trump. We see the Five Eyes, they were working together to trade this information. We see that the CIA, well, they are the hackers of the election system. We see WikiLeaks is out there, and they released evidence showing that the CIA ordered agents to hack French presidential favorite Marine Le Pen in an effort to thwart her soaring popularity. Agents working within the CIA's Human Intelligence and Digital Espionage Signet were tasked with targeting all French politician parties in the 7 months that preceded the 2012 French election. And we can see right now that they had their orders, and they are most likely going to try to do this once again. We see that U.S. is sending troops to Somalia. Now, we know that the United States government central bankers, the deep state, they've been going into each one of these countries. Somalia, we know they've been going into Libya, Yemen, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. And this was pre-planned to keep the system operational, not in the favor of the people, in the favor of themselves, the central bank, the deep state, to keep their covert operations of selling drugs for covert operations. And we can see right now there are troops heading to Somalia. Now, everything that we're talking about in the news, I'm going to discuss a little bit later in this report of why things are completely changing right now. Now, a lot of people can't see through this. They don't understand what is going on, and there are many things happening at once. And I did a little research. I broke a lot of it down, analyzed a lot of the information, and we're going to see that things are not what they seem. Now, we know that the U.S., they bombed Afghanistan. They used an outdated bomb. It was the mother of all bombs. They dropped it on tunnels in the Afghanistan mountain area. These were CIA tunnels. Now, think about this for a second. The CIA tunnels, they were destroyed. Now, of course, the corporate media is out there applauding, saying, yes, we're going after the Islamic State. Remember, the Islamic State was created by who? The CIA. So what is happening right now in Afghanistan, the good guys are hitting them and hitting them hard. This is very difficult to understand, but we're going to explain it a little bit later. We see right now that WikiLeaks is in a battle with CIA Director Mike Pompeo. He has accused WikiLeaks of siding with the world's dictators and endangering the security of the free world. Now, of course, why he's saying this is because he does not like what WikiLeaks is putting out there, and it's messing up the CIA's plans. It's basically exposing them. And he's called the whistleblower organization a non-state hostile intelligence service. And he's saying that they're working with Russia. If you notice, everyone is working with Russia. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. But we can see what's happening right now is they don't like what WikiLeaks is doing. And this is why they're attacking WikiLeaks. But of course, back when WikiLeaks was pumping out all that information about Clinton's emails, well, it seemed like that was okay. But when WikiLeaks is calling the CIA on something and exposing them, well, that's not okay. Now, Pompeo, he declined to offer proof that Assad gassed his own people, which is kind of strange because, again, if they want the American people to believe them, shouldn't they give evidence of what was done? And of course, he declined to provide the proof because he says, well, there are things that were used to form the base of our conclusion that can't be revealed right now. This is a nice way of saying, listen, we have absolutely nothing. We're going to say it's classified, and you're just going to have to take our word for it. Now, we see out in North Korea, the deep state, they are pushing their agenda very, very hard right now. They are putting a lot of propaganda out there, and we can see right now they're pushing their agenda. They want a war to start right now. We see that North Korea, well, one of the articles is that they could target U.S. military bases in the Asia Pacific. And this is coming, of course, from South Korea. We see Japan, well, they're preparing for a North Korea emergency. And the Japanese government has asked the U.S. to provide advance consultation if it is about to launch a military action against North Korea. The Japanese government is contemplating 5 potential emergency responses should a military clash break out. Number 1, logistical support by Japan's self-defense forces in the event of a local conflict. Use of force, that's number 2, use of force by the SDF in the event of a full-scale war. 3, protection of Japanese citizens in South Korea. 4, preparation for armed attacks against Japan. 5, civil protection in response to evacuees. So in the case of airstrikes do begin, Japan will get involved on the offensive in breach of its constitution, and a development that would in turn put both China and Russia on edge. So we can see right now that Japan, the United States, South Korea, and many of these countries, they're preparing for this. Now, the corporate media is out there, and they're pushing the idea that the United States government, they are planning to invade North Korea. The Pentagon came out, and they denied all these reports that they're getting ready to attack. And we can see right now there is a battle going on. The deep state that wants war, the good guys that don't want war. And they're conflicting. All these stories are conflicting right now, but the deep state, they're still pushing the idea right now that these things are going to happen. They want to convince the world. Now, if they have to put out a fake article, they will do this, and we are seeing this right now. And we could see, as expected and feared, during the annual Day of the Sun celebration parade, celebrating the birth of the nation's founder, Bloomberg, well, they blasted a headline that Chinese news agency reported that North Korea has fired a projectile. And it turned out to be fake, phony, and false. But think about this. This could have led to World War III. They retracted it. They said it was an accident. They misinterpreted what the actual information actually said. And the actual information was North Korea submarine-launched ballistic missiles seen at military parade for the first time. Now, someone should have checked this over many, many times before they put that article out saying that they launched a missile. But was this really an accident? Was this really coincidence? Or did they want something to start? Because this is how wars get started, through lies, through actions of the corporate media putting out things that might get something started. And we can see right now, this is what they were trying to do. So they rewrote the article, and now it reads, North Korea missile seen at military parade. So it's pretty amazing how they can use an article and almost start World War III. This is how far they will go. Actually, they'll go even further, because we know that they're not going to give anytime soon. Now, we're starting to see that this whole chemical weapons attack in Syria is turning out to be completely fake, phony, and false, which we knew from the beginning. And we know that there's an MIT professor out there looking at the evidence, looking at the White House intelligence report on April 11th, 2017, and he's saying that this contains false and misleading claims that could not possibly have been accepted in any professional review by impartial intelligence experts. And the White House intelligence report was produced by the National Security Council under the oversight of the National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. Now, the WHR asserts that it reviewed commercial video evidence and concluded that sarin came from the crater next to a man. Now, in other video frames, they show unprotected workers in the crater showing no evidence of sarin poisoning. At the same time, the dead birds are being packaged. Now, these videos, they were uploaded to YouTube in the time period between April 5th, 2017 and April 7th of 2017. An analysis of the videos shows that all of the scenes taken at the site where the WHR claims was the location of sarin release indicate significant tampering with the site. Shows that these individuals are down there placing things in there and doing things. Since these videos were available roughly 1 week before the White House report was issued on April 11th, this indicates that the office of the WHR made no attempt to utilize the professional intelligence community to obtain accurate data in support of findings in the report. The video evidence shows workers at the site roughly 30 hours after the alleged attack, and they were wearing clothing with the logo Idlib Health Directorate. These individuals were photographed putting dead birds from a bird cage into plastic bags. The implication of these actions is that the birds died from being placed in the alleged sarin crater. However, the video shows the same workers inside and around the crater with no protection of any kind. Actually, they're wearing honeycomb face masks and medical exam gloves, and they're just wearing street clothes with no other protection. And the honeycomb face masks would provide absolutely no protection against either sarin vapors or sarin aerosols. So right from these videos, it shows that it is completely fake. And this brings us to what is really happening today. Because we know that whatever the corporate media is putting out there is completely fake, phony, and false. But for some reason, people are listening to them and they're believing what is going on with Syria, with North Korea, and people are very, very angry about what Trump is doing right now. People that voted for Trump, they're very pissed and angered, and they can't believe what is happening. But we need to go back in time and remember, what is happening right now is not just Trump, it's also the good guys. And you'll see in a minute where I'm going with all of this, because he's not doing this alone. And remember, we have the deep state, which is the bad guys, central bank, bad guys, corporate media, bad guys, and then we have the good guys. And in the beginning, Trump was campaigning. He let us know how the economy was really doing. People understood how the economy was really doing. People couldn't find work. People were being laid off. And he recognized that there were many bubbles in the economy. When he was elected, well, he looked at the economy and he knows it's a complete mess. And he started out calling out the corporate media as fake news, and sometimes very, very fake news. And everyone applauded him, and they thought, well, finally, this is all going to change now, and we're all going to feel better. Things are going to get on the right track. But what happened was the corporate media and the deep state, they fought him on it. They weren't just going to give in, and we knew this. We reported on this. And it wasn't really getting him anywhere. And the deep state, well, they were pushing to remove certain individuals in his administration. And all the people that he picked in his administration, again, aren't the great picks. But again, he had to work with the Republicans and things like that to get certain people in there. And he did promise to drain the swamp. And this is what a lot of people are fixed around, like, oh, he's not draining the swamp. Think about what he's going up against and what the good guys are going up against. So certain individuals like Flynn, they were removed, and they kept pushing the idea of Russian collusion, about how Trump is working with Russia. He tried to throw out the idea, which turned out to be completely true, that Obama, the deep state, they were spying on him. Now that all went away, because what happened was we had this chemical attack in Syria, and Trump received intel that the deep state is pushing for war, and he understood what was happening right now. I mean, he just didn't turn stupid. He knows what's real news, what's fake news. He's been calling it out all along. And he realized what he was doing wasn't working. He needed to change tactics. He needed to convince the corporate media, CIA, the deep state, he was with them. And he needed to get them on his side, which he kind of did. Now, this entire operation that we're seeing right now is done in secrecy. It's covert. And we can see right now that those people who are not looking for these messages, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute, they don't really understand what's going on. And people who voted for him right now, they hate him. They despise him. They're calling him names. They feel ashamed. They feel very upset. And that brings me to something very important. And I had this quote on my site for a very, very long time. It's by Mark Twain. And it pertains to right now, which is mind-blowing and unbelievable. And you're going to see other things that are completely unbelievable. Mark Twain writes, "In the beginning of change, the patriot is a scarce man, and a brave man, and a hated and scorned man. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot." Everyone right now hates him, despises him. I mean, I hear it all over the place, everywhere I go. Even the alternative media. completely dislike him. But that's okay, because only politicians want to be liked. Now, Trump had to remove Bannon. He did it on purpose. That was all staged. I know people can say, no, it's not staged. Everything that you're seeing is staged because he needs the corporate media, the deep state, to believe he is on their side. And you'll see why. Now, Trump received intel from the CIA deep state about this chemical attack. Now, he knows the CIA, the deep state, is providing fake intel. It is fake news. So he decided to go with it. They hatched this plan, him and others, to move this forward. Now, during his speech, before he launched the 59 Tomahawk missiles, he said certain things in his speech. He mentioned the babies, and he said, and I quote, "Even beautiful babies were cruelly murdered in this very barbaric attack." Now, he knows this is not true. What he is referring to is the fake stories about babies in the incubators in Kuwait and how we went into there, how the deep state is using this fake news, and how the news about these babies and about these children dying, it is completely fake. He also mentioned terrorism, and he said the following in a speech. "Tonight I call on all civilized nations in seeking to end the slaughter and bloodshed in Syria and also to end terrorism of all kinds and all types." What is he talking about here? He's talking about the paid mercenaries, the Al-Qaeda, Islamic State, Al-Shabaab, I should say. And he's calling on civilized nations to stop the terrorism. What countries are truly stopping terrorism? It's Russia, China, actually Iran. It's hard to believe. It's not France. It's not the UK. It's not Italy. It's not Germany. It's none of those countries. It's not Australia. It's none of those countries. They support the terrorism. He is giving us a few messages if you follow it. Now, Trump takes the intel that he receives with the good guys, and they create this plan where they're going to use what all the past presidents have used, the bill which allows them to go ahead and attack any country because without going to Congress. And he's going to fire off 59 Tomahawk missiles. And I always wondered, why 59? Why would he pick that? What does that have to do with anything? Why didn't he pick 60? What's wrong with 70? What's wrong with 40? He's sending us a message, people. And this is the message. The number 59 is a mix of the vibrations of the numbers 5 and 9. Number 5 resonates with learning life lessons through experience, personal freedom, and free will. The number 9, it brings in attributes of humanitarianism, leading by positive example, divine and inner wisdom, generosity, benevolence, the awakening. The two numbers together form 59. This is the message from your angels that's sweeping. Positive changes are ahead of you. You are asked to let go of the old with love and gratitude and make room for the new to enter your life. Be assured that these life changes will have long-term positive effects on many levels. He is letting us know that change is about to happen. He used the number 59 to let go the old and to bring in the new. He wants us to know what he's doing, but he can't tell us. The good guys just can't tell anyone because it will ruin their plan. Now, Trump warns Syria and Russia ahead of time when he strikes, and this is why they cleared the bases. Trump is working with Putin. Putin then jammed some of the Tomahawk missiles, so there'd be minimum damage on the base. This is why the objective of the base, there was no objective. This is why everyone can make sense of it, but now we can. Trump also tweeted out very strange messages. Things will work out fine between the U.S. and Russia. At the right time, everyone will come to their senses and there will be lasting peace. He also tweeted, I have great confidence that China will properly deal with North Korea. If they are unable to do so, the U.S. with its allies, who are the allies of the U.S.? It's going to be Russia. They will help in this situation. Now, the corporate media is going along with Trump, and they are on his side right now. They called him the president. He is now the president. Now, Trump talked about draining the swamp. This is exactly what he's doing right now. He's exposing all of those people in his administration and out of his administration for who they really are and what they are and what their real belief is. And the problem is that the deep state, they're pushing for a war. Now, the good guys know this, and they know they have to stop them because they want the system to collapse without a war. The deep state wants the system to collapse with the war. So this is where the battle is right now. And Trump, he is hitting the deep state, the CIA, those individuals. This is why he dropped the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan. This is why he used an outdated bomb. That is the old. We're getting rid of it. Now, the corporate media is saying that Trump is getting ready to invade North Korea. Well, the Pentagon is saying, no. Calm the situation down. We're not invading right now. Now, we can see that there's a lot going on, and we have to be very careful because we can see the deep state, they're going to try to use all different types of tricks. Already, the deep state, they're putting out articles like we saw from Bloomberg saying that, yes, there was a missile fired. We also know that there's been operations off the coast of California saying that there could be a submarine there. Could be maybe a Russian sub or a North Korean sub. We also know they're talking about a new type of missile that North Korea developed. This most likely is a setup because what they'll do, if to get this war started, is they'll use a false flag. They will fire a missile off the coast. Of course, it won't be North Korea. It will be the deep state. They might fire upon the strike group off of North Korea to get the war started, or have a missile go into maybe Japan or South Korea, but this will be fired from the deep state. And we need to remember something, going back to The Economist magazine. There was a picture of Trump on top of the world, actually on top of the United States, and the card was a judgment card. And he's sitting on top of the world holding a scepter and an orb, similar to the crown jewels of the United Kingdom, symbols of monarchy. And this is kind of odd, and people think, well, he's going to be a dictator, a ruler. Well, that's not really what the card is saying. In a traditional emperor card, the emperor holds the scepter in his right hand and the globe in the left hand. This indicates that Trump received the world power instead of conquering it. Now, Trump, according to this card, will rain down judgment upon the elite and expose the lies and deceptions of the shadow government. The judgment card is all about exposing the shadows and waking up the dead. However, the Thoth Tarot deck renames the judgment card as the Aeon card. Now, the Aeon is the symbol for the rise of the phoenix. It stands for a time of insight, the true understanding of the circle of life, a growing and fading. The card tells us that we should leave our frog perspective and watch the things from a higher level. Step back, listen to the message. Look, listen on what's really going on. Block out the noise from the corporate media. The card also says the time has come to face the new, that we need a good overview to build our utopia. The phrases rise of the phoenix and build our utopia are loaded with new world subtext. The description calls for a higher level understanding of events rather than the frog perspective, which sits in a pot of increasingly boiling water. And in older decks, the Aeon is called judgment, dealing with resurrection and redemption. And we need to understand what is happening right now. Trump right now is doing this, and he doesn't care what people think about him. Understand what a real leader is. We haven't had one in a very long time. A leader does not care about being reelected. A politician does. So for all those individuals that are out there saying that he's ruining his second term, look what he just did, he doesn't care. Only politicians care about that. What makes a true leader? A true leader wants nothing more than to make people stand on their own as leaders in their own right, instead of trying to blind us with his or her brilliance. A true leader reflects our own light back to us so that we may see ourselves anew. A true leader shakes people from their reverie and tells them, no, you don't need to live a life of desperation and confusion. Yes, you do have the ability to find meaning in your life and the unique skills to fulfill that meaning. You are an important link in a chain of generations past. You have a legacy worth preserving and a future worth fighting for. A true leader shows us that our world is indeed heading somewhere, that we can control its movement, that we need not be at the mercy of personal prejudices or the prevailing political wind, that none of us are subservient to history or nature, that we are history and nature, that we can rid the world of war and hate and ignorance, and obliterate the borders separating race from race, rich from poor. A true leader does not want followers. He wants to teach others how to be leaders. He does not want control. He wants the truth. He does not impose his leadership on others, nor does he take away anyone's autonomy. He inspires by love, not coercion. When it comes to take credit, he makes himself invisible. But he is the first to arrive at the time of need, and he will never shrink away in fear. He is so passionate about your welfare, and when you consult him for guidance, it is like coming face to face with yourself for the first time. And I want to go back to that quote from Mark Twain. Remember this: in the beginning of change, the patriot is a scarce man, and brave, and hated, and scorned. What is happening right now? He is hated. He is scorned. He is a scarce man. But when he succeeds, everyone's going to join with that leader. This is what we're seeing happening right now. Trump and the good guys are broadcasting messages if we know where to look, if we understand what is happening. And we can see there's going to be more and more of these messages. The deep state, they don't know where to look. We do. And we can see these messages. And we can see what's happening right now. Don't get caught up in the noise. Don't get caught up in what's going on with what the corporate media is saying and what others are saying. Look past this. Step back. Take a look, and you'll see the bigger picture. And this is the bigger picture. Does this mean there's going to be no war? No, because that's where the battle is. The battle is between the good guys trying to stop the war and the deep state trying to create the war. And at the same time, the good guys are trying to remove the deep state and reset the entire system. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. But in the end, it will be better for everyone, because when change hits, it's never easy or pleasant. It's always a little difficult, sometimes very difficult. And this is what we're going through right now. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.